Hey, it's Lomatini lit up, and here is what I am lit up about. As always, I'm always lit up about being behind this mic and being able to talk to you out there and kind of give you an update where Patrick's at, what's going on with his life, and how lit up is Lomatini. And it's been a journey. I'm telling you, it's been a journey. So where do you even start? Because I have just been so excited to kind of have this amazing self-discovery of what's going on with Patrick and how I can be the best version of Patrick possible. And I was looking back at an old picture I took of myself, a selfie, with my shirt off in the bathroom. And it was back in July. And it was at that moment I made the commitment to do several things. I was, just to be the best possible version of Patrick possible, spiritually, mentally, especially physically. And actually right now I feel like I'm actually probably in the best shape of my freaking life at 55 years old. Since that picture, I went on a no sugar diet, eliminated alcohol. What a difference just the no sugar part did, and then the alcohol. And I can get into that a little bit later. But then I changed up my entire workout program. I committed to do this tough race. And if you all know what that is, it's this obstacle course through the mud and water. I'm doing the 5K, baby steps. There's a 5K, 10K, and a 15K. And next year, I've already signed up for the toughest mudder, which is the ultimate. It's kind of like a ninja warrior in the mud, in the wilderness. So it's in Lebanon, Tennessee. Excited about it. It's on some cattle farm, so it should be interesting. But since that picture, I've changed my workout. I've changed my mindset here recently, which has been very interesting, because we've got so many people in our lives, and we've got to eliminate a lot of them because there just aren't, there's no value. There's no value add. And you almost hate to look at another individual, another human being, and eventually break it down to, is there a value add here? Is there a value add? And we get so caught up in social media. You can go a lot of different directions, and what are you trying to accomplish, and how do you use the vehicle of social media to get to you where you want to go? And hey, I'm not the only one out there. You get addicted to it. You get all these friends and followers and all this stuff, and you try and build your platform that way. But is there truly a platform? Are you building something? What are you building? And I had to do a hard look at all of those things. I've had over 5,000 friends on my personal Facebook, and thousands of followers on Barcade and Lomatini, the realtor, and other things like that. And it's like all of these platforms, Instagram, 52,000 followers. And that grew from my travels around the country. But really, do I really know 52,000 people? People are addicted to Instagram. I've got 1 million followers. I got 2 million followers. You got 2 million people that like to either look at your tits or you have some amazing message, and usually it's the first. You got all these girls that I've known over the years that have got all these followers, and they've turned into internet whores. Man, I don't need that in my life. I don't want that in my life. And so I've just deleted recently over 2,000 people off my Instagram. Several hundred, if not a couple thousand, off all of my pages of Facebook. And it's been kind of liberating because, it's just like there's no value add there. I don't even know who this person is. I don't remember meeting them. We don't have any conversations. So it's like, see ya. And it's been great. It's been fantastic. It's one more step of this whole process of making Patrick the best version of Patrick possible. And so, I started doing the training, man. So I incorporated, on the physical side, I incorporated CrossFit and now boxing. So I'm doing CrossFit, flipping tractor tires, jumping rope, doing a lot of pull-ups and dips. And I've been doing sprints. And now I've started doing boxing and punching the bag and doing more jumping rope. And it's just mind-blowing how much your body can take and the transformation that you can make with your body. So it's been part of my recovery. So I'm on this journey, and I don't want to pound it into the ground. We've said it before. I went from suicide to salvation. And salvation is not a destination. It's not an end game. It's like yourself. This is part of your life. I'm living in salvation. So I went from that to this, and the salvation is just a beautiful thing. And I wish everybody could get there, find it, live in it, stay there. Because what happened back in March, I wish upon nobody. And for you out there, maybe watching me for the first time or hearing my story, or not knowing what the story is, I really don't want to go into it. If you really want to know what the story is, go look at some of the previous podcasts all the way back into February. We'll tell you what happened. But I didn't handle it very well. So what did happen back in January was the loss of a wonderful relationship that I enjoyed and adored, and just everything around it and everything attached to it, gone. And just like that, no closure, nothing, just done. And how do you handle that? So I did not handle it very well, and became very depressed, became very ashamed, became very just upset at myself for allowing myself to do such a thing. And so I took matters into my own hands and thought, taking my own life was the answer. Fortunately, God had other plans. And so I'm able to live this world of salvation and see all the beautiful things around me. But the question is really, how did it get there? And I'm excited to be able to share this so that I may be able to help somebody else out there see the red flags, see the things that you should have seen or you did see. Mostly we do see them, but we ignore them. And typically that's what happens, because I got comfortable. The red flags were there. They were mentioned several, I'm not going to get into a lot of details, but I got very comfortable. Alcohol became an issue because it became an everyday item. And when you're not doing certain things within the marriage, the things that you're doing wrong get highlighted. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and carrying my weight and doing all these other things, certain aspects wouldn't be looked at as hard, like drinking. But it became something that became comfortable, and it became an everyday thing. And I guess it comes in, everybody's limited, right? That's the thing. The person that you're with, you think you're with them forever till death do us part in the presence of God. Everybody's limited. Everything is temporary. It is. You might be married forever, but one of you is going to die, so there's your temporary part of it. But the person that you're with, you think you can get through it. What I did and what happened was fixable through therapy, through any kind of counseling. Any of it was fixable. But no, it was over. So I went off and tried to take matters into my own hands, and it didn't work out that way, and I'm very happy about that. But that punishment was the punishment I put upon myself. And along the way, there was other punishments, the things that I created through that idea of punishing myself. And I'm getting through those. And the Lord has had his hand on this the whole time. And he has helped me get through it. And things are looking fantastic. I feel physically fantastic. Mentally, I'm clear. My relationship with God is growing and getting better every day. And I'm hearing things and reading things in the Bible that I've never really paid attention to. And it's just kind of speaking to you. And I think that's what happens when you end up with that type of relationship, is that you start hearing things, you start seeing things, and he opens up the doors of all these doors that were shut. He has opened up all the people that have left my life. He's replaced them. He is replacing what the locusts have taken from me on a daily basis. So looking back at how it got there and what happened, those are things that, they were there. You saw them. They were mentioned to you, but you ignored them. We all tend to ignore them. But now, how does Patrick become the best version of Patrick possible? Can I go back and fix it? I'd love to. I mean, what I can fix is me. What I can do is win. What I can do is succeed. That's the best version of Patrick possible, so that something like that will never happen again. So you have to have that hard look at yourself about what's going on and how do you fix it? How do you go from there? First of all, you realize it and recognize, some of the things that you were doing. Bad habits, mental unclarity, not performing at work, and not having various little things like time blocking and making sure you're focused on this. I was all over the place with the Barcade Music Festival, which, by the way, is not dead. It's just delayed. That's why I'm wearing the hat, to let you all know that Barcade still exists. I just finished up taxes for last year, so it's still a viable, existing 501c3. So we're still rocking and rolling. Everything just got on hold. And what I've mentioned about 2023 is just a terrible, terrible football game. And started out really bad, getting my butt kicked. People thought I was down and out, and people counted me out. People dismissed me. People washed their hands of me. But that's okay. That's probably some of the hardest stuff that I think a human can go through, is being dismissed. Being led to believe that they're not valued. You're not loved, and what you thought you had and what we thought you could count on is not there. And so it makes you wonder, was it ever there? Maybe you didn't pay attention to more of red flags that were there. I don't know. But I do know this. You have to be the best version of you possible. You have to be you. That's the only person. God makes you. God made one of you. I mentioned something to my friend Tad the other day, that this is the first time in my life I actually feel like me. He goes, well, that's good, because God didn't make you to be anybody else. God made you to be you. So if you are sacrificing yourself, your personality, your livelihood, the way you do things because of a relationship, get out. And I know a lot of you can't get out, because I've been in those relationships where you're trapped, man. This is your way of life. This is your support system, and you can't get out. Whatever you got to do, get out. It's a terrible, terrible way to live, to have to sacrifice any part of your personality to make a relationship work. Don't do it, ever. I feel like I've said so much in just 12 minutes. It's ridiculous. But a lot has happened from that picture I took back in July. And I can't wait to share the pictures of the Tough Mudder coming up. I can't wait to show pictures of my physical change. And I cannot emphasize enough about the no sugar diet, as well as eliminating or dropping out alcohol as much as you possibly can. It keeps you from being able to be what you want to be physically. And I highly recommend. And so my buddy Paul down in Florida, when I went down there, which was great, and I got to see Florida and the Panhandle in a different way other than being a tourist. I went down my first day. It was on a Sunday, and I watched football, just hung out in Destin. And my friend Paul has a house in Freeport, so we went to Freeport, hung out at his house, stayed there, got jet skis, and we went out on the water for hours and just had fun and marina hopped, and it was a good time, and realizing that you cannot exist in this world, I don't believe, and enjoy the amazing wonders of this world, like the ocean and just the beautiful sandy beaches, and not realize that there's a higher power. And the last time I was in Florida, I went to Florida to try and get right with God back in February, thinking that if I got right with God and then did my thing of suicide, that I would have a chance in heaven. That's literally why I went down there. I went down there and walked the beach for hours, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, praying and talking, and just, I looked like a lunatic. But that was where my mindset was. If I get right with God, and I even had my friend Jonathan baptize me, thinking that, let's get rebaptized and just open the door to heaven and take my life and have a chance in hell. And probably in hell. That's where I would end up. But that's not how it works. And I think God made sure that he snatched me from the clutches of death to prove that to me. So now I've got this beautiful scar on my neck that I'm actually pretty proud of, because it's a beautiful reminder of just how beautiful this life can be if you let it. Get out of your own way. And that's one of the things I'm learning right now, is to get out of my own way and stop trying to control life. It's not your life to control. It's your life to live. Live in the right way and keep him first, and keep him in your mind when you're doing whatever it is you're doing. But I'm speaking as a man who didn't feel like a man these last several years. I was physical, worked out, had a wife, had a life, but I was not being a man. And that's important. I think masculinity is an endangered species right now. If you look at this culture, masculinity is not really accepted. Look at it. I don't have to explain it any more than that. Look at it and tell me I'm wrong. Being a man is looked down on and a big part of this culture in this country, in this world. So I am going to, I have got a handful of buddies of mine, and they are men, and that's my circle. And I'm going to be Patrick and be the best version of Patrick and be a man about what's going on. I've accepted my responsibilities. I've accepted what happened. I have not blamed it on anybody else. I punished myself, and I'm going through the legal aspects of punishment, which will all be kind of washed away here really soon. But because of that, one thing I am proud of myself is I've always owned my shit. I've never blamed anything on anybody else. Nobody did what happened back in January. I did it. I took responsibility for it, tried to punish myself in addition to being punished by other people. But, we move on. And that is the whole thing about this whole story, is this whole story would be just a sad story of a man who created all these things with Bark 8. He traveled all over the country, did 50 states tours. He's been to all 50 states. He did it 7 years in a row, lived like a gypsy out of his van, raised over $650,000 for homeless animals, met people from all walks of life. It would just be a sad story if I just gave up and just went away the way I tried to do it back in March. Now it's a story of redemption, success, and winning. Wow. Oh, but it's been good. And I got back into real estate. The home and hair expert is back. The hair business, the barbershop, I'm busier than I've ever been, especially at that barbershop. The real estate is back. All my licenses are intact. I just renewed my license in Florida because Florida is now in the picture now that Paul has introduced Florida to me in a big way. We had so much fun, and one of my favorite spots that I really enjoyed was 30A, and some people that we met down there. It was nice. It was kind of nice to kind of get back into the groove of meeting people and just being out and about and getting out of this mode of, isolation. I'm not meant to be isolated. We are not meant to do this alone as people. We are meant to interact. We are meant to get to know each other and help each other and prop each other up. And that is my mission. And one of the other things I mentioned to you, and that's the other thing too, that I'm kind of, how would you even describe this? My very good friend Ray, and I mentioned this in another pod, but my friend Ray mentioned to this. He goes, dude, you're coming out 100 miles an hour. You're shooting out the gate, dude. As soon as I got off vacation and back in June, as soon as I got back away from vacation, back in June, I just hit the ground running. I had this idea of the biometrics, the Aura Ring, and algorithms and aggregate data and figuring out how to prevent crisis prevention, from people doing what I did, which is a real thing. Suicide is a real thing out there, and it's way too much. So I've done all this research. What's, the state with the lowest levels of anxiety and depression in the easiest kind of easy way of life? Nebraska. What? The state with the highest level of anxiety and depression and suicidal rate is Wyoming. Man, I don't know. You figure it out. Anyway, that's just part of my research and things that I'm doing and working on, in addition to getting Barcade back on track, in addition to getting my real estate life back in order, which I'm showing a house this weekend. So wish me luck on that. So I want to get into the idea of just how do you get out of it? How do you get out of it? How do you get out of it? Out of depression, anxiety. How do you pull yourself out? Listen, what happened to me and what I did to myself, I have every reason just to crawl up into that corner over there and just be done and just let life go on. But it's not me. It's not who I am. I'm a fighter. And I've got too much love for myself and love for this second chance life that I have to ever do that again. I will never sacrifice my personality for anybody ever again. I will not mince words with people. I will tell you how I feel. Of course, all within a professional courtesy way. Is that how do you pull yourself out of it? That's the key. And it's one step at a time. You can't eat the whole thing. You can't eat a whole steak at once. You got to cut it up. You got to take a bite and you got to chew it and you got to swallow one step at a time, one bite at a time, one breath at a time. And that's the only way. And also by staying very busy. Nothing attracts the devil more than blank space in your life. You scrolling through your phone for hours. You doing nothing and just vegging out, switching channels on the TV. You not doing or being active, doing something. The devil is so attracted to that. That's where he lurks. That's where he hides. He cannot mess with a person who's got a strong mind and thinks for himself because he wants to do the thinking for you. So it's one step at a time. And that's how I did it. I got busy with this physical workout and this focus on the Tough Mudder. And that's what I'm talking about. I mentioned Ray. When I met with him, he's like, Patrick, you're going 100 miles an hour. You got the biometric thing you're thinking about. You're trying to fix bark aid. You're trying to get back in order, get some cash flow going, get the hair business back in order, all of this stuff. He goes, let me make a suggestion that you finish out 2023 at a marathon type pace, get your mind back in order, get your home back in order, get back in order and hit the ground running hard in 2024. And that's what I'm doing. So if I want to give you guys the best update and put this all in one big synopsis, that's what I'm doing. 2023 had me counted out. I recovered. It is the fourth quarter. I'm going into it. We're a tie ball game, 42-42. I'm going to win this. And then 2024, look out. And then the rest of my life, let's go. Let's go. So I took his advice and I just got the hair business going. I wrapped up Barkade. I got the real estate back and had a great meeting with my broker yesterday. And just everything is back in order. And the people that are in my life are people that want to be in my life. Prior to all of this, these people that are in your life, you want to find out who's in your life, go through something like I did. I don't recommend it I'm not saying it. Don't do it. Don't go do what I did. But you might want to take a hard look of all the people in your life and ask yourself something. If something like that catastrophic happened in my life, would that guy or that woman be in my life still? Would they be there to help me? And I learned a lot of them won't be. So don't count on it. The only person you can count on is you. You are the only person that can actually get that thing done. You are the only person that can make it happen. You're the only person that's going to win. They can't win it for you. And they will leave you. I guarantee you, they will leave you. So get out there, be the best version of you, do your thing. Him first, God first, do your thing and win. That's Lumentini lit up.